What is sin? Or how would you define sin?
Sin is anything that causes a breakage or a breakdown in relationship between man and God. Sin is anything that breaks your relationship or stops your relationship or stands between you and God. Sin is anything that makes you or drives you away from the presence of God, or debars you or inhibits you from drawing closer to God in relationship. So that is sin in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, the idea of sin is a little bit different. In the Old Testament, sin is about actions. It's about what you do or you don't do. Sin is about do this or you don't do this. You know, there are over 6,000 laws and rules in the Old Testament, and you shouldn't break any one of them. So, but today in the New Testament, it is not, sin is not about actions alone. Sin is about relationship. Either you are anything that is, it's either anything you do, your actions or lack of action, in your heart. It is the condition of your heart, either your heart is moving closer to God or not. But sin is anything that is stopping you from moving closer to God. It might not be an action. Like, for example, Jesus said that if you look at a woman lustfully in your heart, you know, dreaming about her and all that, then you've already sinned, even though you did not act in that form, in that sense. You did not act to kill, to do anything to her, but you have already sinned, because it's not only action that is sin in the New Testament. It is just anything that breaks your relationship, your communion, and your intimacy with God. So it could be your family. It could be love for anything that you love more or that draws you away from God. It could be your family. It could be as innocent as your children. It could be as innocent as your spouse. It could be as innocent as your job. It could be an innocent thing as your hobby. You know, anything that draws you away from your heart loving God more is a sin. So a sin is anything that does not encourage you but dissuades you from from coming closer to God and from being drawn in pursuit of God, in pursuit of a relationship with Him. It's being drawn closer to Him. That is a sin.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. But how come sin has two different definitions, one in the New Testament and one in the Old Testament?
Because in the New Testament, the Bible tells us that God used Moses to reveal Himself to us. And the way God used Moses to reveal Himself to us was through laws, the book of the law. So Moses brought the law, and law is you either do this or you don't do this. What you do is law. It is either do like this, you don't do like this. Prohibition. You are prohibited to do this, don't break the law, it's law. So God through Moses revealed Himself through the law. But then God discovered that men are not making it, that if you are going to live by law, it doesn't matter Old or New Testament, you are not going to make it. We are always going to fail. And God said, okay, if we are going to do that, we are not going to go anywhere. So in the New Testament, God decided to reveal Himself in a different way, not through the law this time, but through grace and truth. So God revealed Himself in the New Testament through grace and truth. So Jesus is the one who brought grace and truth. Grace is God's ability, God's divine, you don't rely on yourself anymore. You rely on God. You just rely on God's grace. God's grace to support you, to help you overcome, to help you draw closer to Him, to help you love Him, and to help you, overcome your struggles in life. So it's not about do it or don't do anymore. It's about relying. It's not more about your efforts. It's about relying on His grace by faith. That's number one. And truth is, should know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You know God, but as your Lord and Savior, draw closer to Him. Pursue Him, pursue that truth, and you are living in His freedom. That truth makes you free. So it's not about what you do anymore, because things are going to happen in life. You are going to do things that are right, things that are not right, but just know that you are pursuing after God, and if you do anything wrong, you could ask God to forgive you, and you keep on moving forward. Mm-hmm. If you fall and fail, you could just ask God to forgive you. It's blood to wash you clean, and you just keep on moving. So it's not about you feeling anymore. It's about do you have a desire to come closer to God? Do you have a desire to serve Him? Do you have a desire to get to know Him more? Do you still desire to pursue Him? That's why it says that the righteous will fall 7 times, but he's still righteous as long as it keeps on standing and it keeps on pursuing God. So that is the beauty of the New Testament. It is no more about what you have done or you are able to do or you are doing. It is now about the condition of your heart. Is your heart thirsty after Him? Are you thirsty for righteousness? Are you thirsty for Him? For Him? Are you pursuing Him? And that's where your own righteousness is. That's why the Bible tells us in Philippians chapter 3 that the mature people, the perfect, those who are perfect should think like this, forgetting the things that are at the back and pursuing those things that are in front. And that's pursuing. It says anybody that is perfect should think like that, forgetting about the things. So if you want to be perfect in this kingdom, if you want to be matured in this kingdom, be a perfect one in this kingdom, perfection is when you forget about the things that are in the past and pursuing God, pursuing to know Him better. That is perfection in this kingdom.
Thank you very much for that wonderful answer.